Okay, and welcome back, everybody. First of all, I want to thank Marie for that awesome talk that she just gave. And I'd also like to apologize a little bit for the delay. We're having some interesting tech issues here. Hopefully, my microphone is a lot clearer than it was during the introduction. Now, next up, we have Dennie Declercq. And I first met Dennie in 2020 in Stockholm at a conference there called Sveitug, just 3 weeks before lockdown started, and we had to go from these wonderful conference centers to doing everything virtually. Dennie is an IT coach, a public speaker, an autism and accessibility expert, and president at DDSoft in Belgium, a nonprofit that connects social organizations and causes the tech world and connects social organizations and causes and the tech world and vice versa. His pronouns are he, him, and he's going to be talking to us today about the scary truth about labels. And Dennie, just before we get started, I believe you're also quite a spiritual person that links to your absolutely awesome hashtag that you use on Twitter all of the time.
Yeah, dreaming is believing. Dreaming is believing started, and it's already on the first slide, so let's start speaking while talking about dreaming is believing. Yeah, it's all about going for your dreams, having dreams, and even if it's not fit with the right label, it's not only a hashtag, it's a nice hashtag, I hope, but it's more than that. It's definitely a mantra. So who I am, I'm Dennie Declercq. I am a passionate developer, really with passion, and president and IT coach at DDSoft, a non-profit in Belgium. And you already heard about DDSoft. I'm a Microsoft MVP, and that's something I'm really, really proud of. I could say that is one of the biggest achievements in my life that I have. But maybe we try again. Maybe I was wrong with introducing myself, sorry. Okay, I do again because I was wrong. I am Dennie Declercq. I'm autistic. I am jobless. I am only a volunteer, so no paid job. I'm a man. I am single, and I'm not a graduate. That's also not so good, I think. Do another rewrite. I am Dennie, a person and a unique living being. So the crazy thing is, I didn't lie on one of three. It's all the truth, but it's how that we present the truth. So there were no lies, but how you present yourself, or especially how you present or introduce other people, can really make a deep impact on their career or on their life, not only career. So, because this talk is about labels, and you can say, are they labels, are they titles? There's a difference between labels and job titles. But there's some things that we need to think about if we want to be inclusive and if we want to escape the scary world of labeling people. And luckily enough, I'm quite happy in the role that I have. Even that is no lie on one of those, I'm so happy that I can live the life that I live right now. So, and I'm very happy to present here at the real stage, not behind the desk, because since the last Real World conference, like Casey was talking about, I lost 40 kilos. No, not since the last, even a bit before. But I don't have nice pictures with my new kind of body shape. I'm wearing this time a shirt, a sweater from NASA, just because it's a hype. I know I fit in this. In the past, I didn't fit in the hype. It was 6 or 7 extra large things, and there were not hypes about it. So I'm happy that I can wear this today. Enough about me for a moment, or for the rest of the talk. Maybe you will see. But we talk about Lisa, and Lisa is a persona. And she has some difficulties. She is not masculine. She is not a graduate. There are a lot of opportunities that she didn't have. And she is really not a math engineer. Oh my God. I can say other things about Lisa too. She is clever. She is really self-taught. And Lisa has really unique views. In fact, Lisa is unique. And even Lisa is a C++ developer and found a way to program in C++, even with a self-made or self-taught workaround to math, because he is not a math scientist. So these are really things to think about. And although they are kind of fake personas and combinations. There's something on the next slide too. These are really possible things and solutions that can be there in the combinations. And it's really important what we say and what we think about this person. But also what Lisa thinks about herself. Because if people always focus on what she can't do, then there's a big chance that she will start to disbelieve in herself and then can do less and less. And if they focus on what she can do, then maybe she can do more and more. David, also a friend of my persona friend. I have imaginary persona friends. Maybe it's the taste of autism. I don't know. No. It's a joke because I'm very happy to make jokes about labels. But David, a shy boy, he needs to do a job in a factory, in a group, and honestly, he doesn't belong. And he has bullied a lot for being worked. So, fortunately, David has also free time. And in free time, he draws the nicest drawings, but unfortunately, he can't sell them. And he made so much drawings that he needs to throw them away. Why? Because he is not allowed to sell it. Because he is not allowed to sell it, he don't have a business for drawings, he couldn't make this. And then it's illegal, it's like a black type of work. But because that is the David I know, we can also have David. And imagine a world with the ideal David. He sells his drawings, he can focus whole day on making drawings. People, fabrics or factories, bars, hotels, streets are enlightened with David's talent. He doesn't need to fit the box of working a normal paid job and even in a fabric for people with disabilities, but he can really do his thing. Yeah, that's the world that I would love to have and what I would love to see more and more people in. But that is not normal, that case. But if we talk about normal, we need to specify the label normal. Because everything is in labels, and because if we distinguish from normal, we really need to think about what is in fact the label normal. And honestly, don't be scared, or be scared if you want, because you need to achieve a lot to be normal. Honestly, you need to can do everything. You need to live healthy, you need to eat healthy, you need to indicate your borders and limits, but it's an unwritten rule or law that you need to go out your borders and limit a lot. Yeah, it's really strange. You need to have a well-paid job, and you have 2 kids. Sorry, if you are not in that table, a boy and a girl. Next to your job, you need to have a hobby. Of course, that your kids need to do their hobbies too. But be honest, okay, sorry. How many people do you know who achieve that? And how many people, I cannot see the chat here from where I'm speaking, how many people know in their surroundings that this is kind of the label normal? Even that nobody kind of achieve it, or very little people, how unspoken the rule is it that that is the label normal? Then I think, oh my God. And how many people try to live us or try to cope or this are not being themselves really because they don't dare to talk about the difference between them and the label normal. So many people hide things. How many? More than you think. Isn't that hard? And then I like that this kind of talk is accepted at the summit because I'm not giving technical insight about developing website and technical this time. But I really love that kind of talk just to have you think about such things. And please let us through you. But because I'm not only complaining how wrong the world is, no. I'm going too deeper in it, and I did research and I go further in that. And maybe we need to ask about why do we have this? How did we come to so far? So it is kind of legacy, but not good legacy, not heritage, really bad legacy. So we based in the long years of long, even longer that the IT world lives, and we started to group people. So instead of looking at the people and the person, we are making groupings of them. And then governments and countries are making budgets based on the groups. Don't think about a person individually, but on the grouped basis. And then you have the budgets, but also the funds on the group. So not on the people, on the groups. It's not the same. And also regulations and law enforcement is based on the group. So it's hard to say that, but you can say that we de-individualized people, and it's a hard word to spell in English if you are speaking. But we put them into labels and regions. Sorry, that's what I'm thinking. And I really hope more and more people see that and will work around that to change that. Even you can say that life is based on the major. I cannot put a real percentage on it. But if you're that, so really, really label normal, but also all the people who fake live as they are on the living normal, but so hide a lot so they are not. And then, of course, next to that, we compared others or even ourselves to the label normal, the major percentage, but a lesser vision. It's not better, it's lesser, it's worse. So these are things I really hope we can change. And the fact that there are conferences on, like Tech Ally Summit, the term that you make, the abbreviation also with who kinds to ally, there are things that change it. Right now, the software world, but also other worlds, is coming. And I have the feeling that it's coming more from the software world, and the big IT companies like Microsoft is also loves their vision on accessibility. It's going way further, it's going to accessible products, but also about vision they talk. So I have the feeling that it's coming, but it is coming, you can say, from bottom up, but then from people who feel this, but also from companies. And Microsoft is really not bottom, it's a really big corp, and maybe other corps are doing it too, but it's not coming from governments. So it is, then you say, is this coming from the industry and not from the governments? But the good thing is, there are changes coming. The fact that 5 years ago we didn't have that type of conferences, so I'm a positive thinker, so we need to be positive too. Let's go to explain a bit more about labels, because there are even more laws about labels. These are kind of all well-known laws. Maybe they are not written, but all well-known. That is, it's or. It is not and. So labels exclude other labels. So, and for people that I also love, I love everyone attending this conference who are colorblind. It's really possible on a conference about accessibility. I want to explain that the left column is green and the right column is red. And now you are all thinking at home, why are you know there exist colorblind people? You are an accessibility expert and you still do it. Okay, because there's a reason for it. And that's the reason that I say it. For people who see, and that is still the majority, who see colors, red has a very feeling, it's also local. Okay, oh my God, then I'm thinking I'm presenting at an online conference. No, in Western Europe, sorry, where I live, in Belgium, and the Western types of the world, I think the United States too, red means danger, it's a no-go. Green is okay, great. I know there are even parts of the world that's different, so it's with the Western vision, sorry, but just to explain, I don't know how you can do it all, include all the things. I do know it, just explaining and telling why you made a choice. That's already a way of being inclusive. Making the choice, but then explaining it, why you make it. If all do that way, it's already a way to go. So with green left, good, white, well, it's not really white, but it's just you need to choose. For example, man or woman. You are more and more people who are talking about also gender diversity, but many more genders. But that's not the world where like the most people live. You are left-handed or right-handed. You have a paid job or you are jobless. For the first two, I can't say a lot. I just want to face it to you. But the third, I really don't identify myself as jobless. So I am not jobless. I can say that I work more than I worked in the fabric for people with disabilities, really, that I can't do. That I work, more as a volunteer. You are tech savvy or a complete tech noob. Why? I think there are a lot of people in between, but we are not talking about it. You are an engineer or you are spiritual. I'm again maybe an example that is don't have to be, vice versa. You are smart or you are dumb. And you are geek or you are social. That's already something so stupid if you think about it. And most of the Non-IT people think that, but have you ever been as a non-IT people, and they are not watching these talks right here, have you ever been at a software conference? This is a very social thing. And at software conference, they are geeks, sorry. Here is a geeky thing, but being invited to come to here is not one or the other. So, and we also learned that we need to make choices. We are pre-learned to make choices. Or again, it's not true, of course. That's how people think. It's really not what it is. So you need to eat healthy, or you need to eat tasty. Of course, that's how people think. I don't say it's true. It's a sitting job or a standing job. It's being rich, or not working, or working less hours a week. Is having great studies when you are a youngster, or starting young and helping out with your family. Again, that's how most people see it right now, how they perceive it. It's not the truth, it's just how people think that it is, and how it's still too much the truth in some kind of cases. It's not how it should be. So we could say that we have learned to sacrifice. And there are a lot of also, if we belong on a label, so if we identify us on a label, we need to live as completely on the label as possible. In fact, we need to live completely on the label. I give an example. As you said, I am a person with autism. I like saying a person with autism. There are people saying they prefer autistic. We all need to say what we want, honestly. But for me, as a person with autism, I should raise the bar of all the autism points. And normal, what people think about autism, that's not having fun. And a lot of people with autism like the lockdown, for example. That's normal because people with autism are seen as asocial people. We are not there, but people think that. And people achieved it. And even in Belgium, there is a community of people with autism. It's a self-support group. And years ago, I am in that group for years already, pretty close to where I live, in Bruges. And I have sometimes people say to me, oh, you are not really autistic, or you are atypical autistic. Okay, so we make labels of labels to misuse the labels or to mind the labels. No, because I like to go to parties and I like to go to theme parks and I like to travel, then I am atypical autistic, because normally you shouldn't like that. And of course, the label normal is the label to go for. It's a rule, you know it. And so you need to make trade-offs. But let's be honest. Do we identify? Or do we get identified? And that's a question to think about, and I hope people in the chat are discussing about that, or there will be coming questions about it. But there's a big difference. If we identify, it means that we make the choice. We identify with. But if we get identified, then other people, without that identity, or without that disability, or without that identity in common, they say you belong to that label. That's a big difference. Really something to think about. And I appreciate you, as we are coming nearly to the end of the talk, not really, that you think outside the box and maybe try to do this whole day today at the Tech Ally Summit. Because you will see a lot of things about disabilities. You will see very technical things. I think it's one of the only not technical talks from today that I give. Really think about it. And if you don't see why something is needed, if you are not seeing why this should be needed, or you don't thinking about that kind of disabilities having this, try to think outside the box. And try to think or to trace or see through the labels. And always think in and not or. It's one of the most important things. Maybe I said one. Think in and not or. Also a great approach is being whole. And my friend Dux, Raymond Sai, is also a community member. He lives in the States. Has a whole great talk about being whole. It's about you being your whole self, about time management and work-life balance. It's amazing and it's an inspiration for me, really. And here I have some examples with boxes, labels. So maybe these are all things that don't exist, because in which boxes or labels should we put those sentences? A coder with a spiritual passion, a famous cook who is a vegetarian, but he is cooking meat for customers. Maybe something that people can't imagine, but I think that should be possible, or that is a possible thing. A girl clothed as a man, a coder with a lack of math, it's perfectly possible, and an MVP or a Microsoft MVP without a job. These are just things who are not considered normal, this box with all these labels, but they are there. Each example here are there in the world, and why we put labels on it or put them into boxes? Why don't we see the person competing what he is? So, for example, Dennie is an MVP without a job, or just invent names, we call it in Dutch. Sucking out your thumb, it's a kind of Dutch abbreviation for just imagine on the go. For example, Jeff is a famous cook on the TV, and he's a vegetarian, but he makes the nicest recipes with meat. It should be possible. There are more and more girls clothed as a man, so that the gender diversity is getting better and better, as I see, because I really do a lot with the labels and boxes as I came into the tech field with the thing of accessibility. I saw that it's getting more and more that one. It's something going on very fast, and I love it. Yeah, yes, lovely. One of the last things I want to talk about is about time, and I start with the bottom of my talk, on my slide. What is time anyway? Yeah, it's a very inside joke of me, not for today, of course. But time, how do we handle work life? How do we a working job and your free time? Is it 80-20? Do we always think into day or night? Maybe it can be 90-10. Is it 50-50? What is normal? We are also talking people, and there are even music songs about working 9 to 5, but is this really what we want, what we want to see? A great thing, and it's bad the pandemic happening now, it's getting better right now. But one of the greatest things I saw in the pandemic, there's not one, but some great things. Not a lot, but some great things. And that's how people are really reimagine the workplace. Like example, if you are working from home, a lot of companies or people weren't working from home in the past, then they really can reimagine how to think. Should that be being at your separate room or a separate desk at 9 in the morning until 5 p.m. in the night? Or are there more mixed sense in betweens? There's a great time to think about these things. I have the fortune that I can all experiment with that in my non-profit, because it's not a paid job, so you can do a lot more. But yeah, that's one of the good things in the pandemic I want to say. People and companies and people are really thinking about these things. And it's the way to go. Remember, talking about diversity and inclusion is just the beginning. It needs to be the new normal. Thank you.